Because we never said all men. You heard men and assumed we meant you, which is worth sitting with, sir.
Mm-hmm. Welcome back to Muse on the Mic. I'm Riley.
And I'm Emily. Thanks everyone for joining us here on YouTube for another hot, controversial topic. We are about to poke the bear, upset some men. We're about to stir the pot and rattle some feathers and kind of see what comes out the other end of it. Boys, strap in for this one. This is going to be a topic. Riley, what did we bring for everyone today?
Well, you're right. It is going to be a little triggering, so I'll warn you now. But we've all heard of the 62 million men. We've all heard of, but not all men, or even the comparison bear versus man. But have we really considered how women grip keys between their knuckles when they walk through parking lots? How they must scan a room before they get comfortable, how they must cover their drink before they go to the washroom. This is a huge topic to unpack, so we're going to try to fit it all in and not upset you boys too much, but it is something that should be talked about.
I agree so hardcore. Now, I think everyone's heard about the CNN report with the 62 million men. Atrocious. One of the most disturbing things to come out of not just 2026, but just life in general. Given the times and how the world is, that's a big statement. And I mean it that big. But instead of diving into the CNN report and why guys were going on this website and why they were sharing all these god-awful tips about harming their partners, we really wanted to specify not all men. And let's dig into why that's so important, why that's so touchy a subject or a sentence to hear for men. You use the word triggering, which is the perfect word. It's one of those alarm bell statements. But there's a reason why we are like that. And I think there's so many men that don't know that we have these survival skills and maneuvers that we do already. I don't think most guys get up and go about their day. Even girl dads might go around their day and never teach their girls to literally put keys between their fingers when they walk. Don't walk alone at night. Don't keep both headphones in. Keep your phone in your hand with 911 already dialed in, so you just have to push one button. Never go into a park, like an underground parking lot at night by yourself. So many things that a man can just freely do. He can go for a run in the woods at 2 a.m. if he feels like it. He can even it's just a walk to the gym because it's downtime and he likes a midnight sweat. We don't have those options. We might not have those options if the gym's in our same condo building. So getting from A to B is a very different scenario. Then add in this whole report it's coming from inside the house. And this rattled women everywhere because it is not only true, it's not only something that happens all over the world often and all the time, but it's something that men were literally advising each other to do. And then when it came out and they were caught and the truth kind of bumbled, then it became this defensiveness about it's not 62 million men, it was 62 million views. God damn it. And we all sat there going, what the fuck kind of point is that? Because what if it's 10 million that viewed it 62 million times? It's 10 million men. Are you out of your minds? And this wasn't the only scenario. There's been Facebook groups shut down with the same type of tender and exchange of giving tips for this. And I'll show you a video of how I use those tips. It's non-consent porn, it's rape, it's all the things kind of jumbled together from your trusted partner. And that takes It's Not All Men to a whole other level. So we got a couple pieces of media to share with you guys, some videos, some talking points, some slides. Deep breath. Let's dive in. Do you want to start with the video, Riley?
Yes. This one is from Professor Neil, so let's take a watch.
There's a very good chance you have seen this video, which went viral a couple weeks back.
Not all men, but if I gave you a box of Whoppers and I told you that 1 out of every 10 of them was actually a piece of human shit rolled into a ball and dipped in chocolate, you'd be wary of all of them.
Many people have said that number is wrong. It's 1 in 20, 1 in 50, 1 in 100. And it's true. The 1 in 10 is wrong. Actually more like 1 in 7 men who have attempted or completed the rape of a woman, and more than 1 in 3 who have sexually assaulted a woman, period. It's 5 in 10 of us who have badgered a woman who said no until she changed her answer. 8 in 10 of us who have lied to a woman in order to convince her to sleep with us. And more than 9 in 10 of us who have admitted to not accepting no as an answer. So yes, it is not 1 in 10 whoppers that is secretly a ball of shit. It is so much worse than that.
Wow, that is just alarming. Like 1 in 3 women have been assaulted. 8 out of 10 men don't accept no. And you really have to empathize with the women. Try to put yourself in their position of the way we on a daily basis have to evaluate risk before we do anything, before we go to work, when we evaluate our outfit. And as liberal and as, we want to scream, feminism and independence all the time, it's subliminally a part of our everyday decision making. And it's something that just must be recognized. And I think this video really highlighted those stats, those numbers that are so alarming.
Right, because of those numbers, of those 10, 7 of them are somebody's husband.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And we date at least some of them through college, through young adulthood and finding our partners. We lose our virginities and have our initial sexual experiences with things like that. If you look even deeper into, sexual assaults and things like that, 9 times out of 10 is happening in the home, or it's a close family friend, or, a father, an uncle, a grandpa, a brother, like something like that. It is not out there in the forest. It is not some bear that comes up to you and destroys your ability to have autonomy, or takes your life, or destroys your self-worth and your boundaries and all the things that come with it. It's a familiar face. And so what do you do when it's literally someone in your house? What do you do when you find out? There was a woman in the UK who prosecuted her husband about this. It was a huge case over there. I don't want to misquote, but I think it was in 2025 and wrapped up early 2026. She won the case. But for about 20 something years, this man had been doing this to her, was inviting friends and coworkers to come do her, was videotaping it and sharing it with people, making money off of it on the internet, sharing it overseas, and like just unfathomable stuff. And when you hear those kind of extreme stories, like when a big cult or a kidnapping or some big story comes out, you assume the Unabomber was a one-off or Jeffrey Dahmer was a one-off. But then you get a report about 62 million men and you're just like, where are we safe? And then we added the trends of how many women are not getting married anymore. They are choosing to either not have kids or raise their kids alone. They feel more productive, more wealthy, more financially secure, more safe, and happier being by themselves, or cohabitating with friends, or staying with, female family members and having multi-generational female-only homes and stuff like this. I get why men can be angry about that, in the sense that like you're kind of closing off some opportunity. But when faced with these statistics, how could we not, right? Why would we not? It's really bizarre to think about, as a wife, all the things that you have to worry about in a day. You want your husband to be safe and okay. You want him to come home every night. You want him to be faithful. You might worry about the secretary or the little chippy that lives next door. You're not looking at him across the dinner table going, what did you do to me last night? It's very foggy. Like it takes it to such a deeper, more personal level that you may not even know until, or if you ever find out. It's so violating that I don't think violating is a big, like there isn't enough words in the English language to kind of describe it. And so when we say not all men, what do we mean? And what does that, it triggers guys, not all guys, not all men, but it triggers certain ones. And I think the ones that it triggers need to do some self-reflection. And I've got a post I'm going to read, because I think it kind of dives into some of the reasoning behind that and gives some pretty good examples. So this one's from Instagram. from a page called Life and Alex. And it's a screenshot and replies from what I think is Threads. I'm not on Threads very often. Okay, so it says a man asked this question. Ladies, tell us why not all men feels offensive when we hear it. And so he shares some of the comments and replies. So girl says, because we never said all men. You heard men and assumed we meant you, which is worth sitting with, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Next person, I think this is a guy based on the profile picture. The handle doesn't say so much, but it says 1, it's dismissive. 2, it centers yourself and your own pride/ego over the actual victims of a systemic issue. 3, you cannot identify which men are or aren't safe to women, so shut the F up. 4, you're claiming you are safe to women doesn't make you safe to women. And then 5, it is all men, whether they're actively harming women, silent about other men harming women, etc. All men contribute to this issue in some way. Need I say more?
Mm-hmm.
Next reply, this one's from a woman. Imagine you got raped by another man. You finally tell your story of assault to someone else, and they look at you and go, not all men. That's why.
It's extremely dismissive, I think, is
dismissive. It's so terrible.
Point. Yeah, no, it really is. And I mean, it's such a massive issue that I think it starts so young. It's not just about rape. It's about someone rubbing up against a woman the wrong way, over staring, oversharing, over exposing themselves. There are so many mild to crazy examples of what women go through. And I think it's really interesting because the next video we're going to show talks about kind of the man versus bear. And I think the people that choose bear, which most adults do, I know we both do, I think that comes with time. I think as a very naive child, most will choose man because we want to believe they're good. And it's not until life shows us we cannot trust man as an overall whole that we start choosing the bear. And that's a really scary reality.
It starts so young. And there are examples even of men that will say things to young girls. I found a thread. I should have saved it. I found a thread a couple days ago where a woman was asking, like, tell me the earliest memory you have as a woman being approached icky, like sexually, from a man. When you were first hit on, if we're going to give it that nice name. And 90% of the answers are between the ages of 5 and 10 years old. And we're in a situation where the president of the United States right now, on videotape from back in the 90s, is caught on a hot mic saying to a 10-year-old girl, oh, you're really beautiful, turns to her dad and says, I'm going to be dating her in 10 years. And he gets to be president. And most people don't care about that moment or that statement. So it triggers not just our knowledge and what we're taught when someone says, put your keys between your fingers or don't go for a run at night. It triggers that worry earlier than you even have tools to try and navigate it. At an age where you're nowhere near understanding, navigate danger. What does the word navigate even mean? Like, what is danger until you've seen it or experienced it? And this video, I'm not even a mom. This one punched me right in the gut. It's a good one. Let's give it a watch. Who is it?
From the communication expert.
Let's give it a whirl. Brace yourself.
Be stuck in a forest with a man or a bear.
Depends on who the man is.
Strange man.
Not like my dad or something. I think I'd rather do the bear. Yeah, I mean, because bears you can avoid, but humans are dumb and we don't know what the man will do.
It's kind of weird to think about, right?
Yeah.
This would be a hard one. I would say a man, because what if they just brought a backpack of supplies we could use? What if they did that? If we were stuck in a bear, we would be dead. we could like make our own shelter if there was no bear inside.
Yeah, that's totally true.
So I would go with man, because they could bring some supply, but bears just kill you. I'd say that.
So you would find the man to be helpful?
Yes. I would find a real life man to be helpful.
Okay.
That video is so telling of kind of how it progresses early, but how it progresses. And coming from like a mother's angle or being a mother, I would sooner want to have conversations with my daughter about how to navigate a bear than how to navigate a man, because they are very tricky, and they can be manipulative, and there's so many variations of what you're going to have to deal with. And this actually even got me thinking as we were recording today, of a story that happened to me in grade 9. I was in the principal's office getting a late slip because I was late to class. And this boy who was in grade 12, really good looking boy, came up to me and whispered in my ear, "I'm going to fuck you by the end of grade 12. And I remember saying to my girlfriends what had happened. And it was like really, they boasted me up about it. Like, wow, like take it as a compliment. Like he's a grade 11 or
hottie.
12. He's the hot boy.
Right.
But I remember thinking, like, what do you mean you're going to fuck me? Like, I don't know you. Like, and those are the little things it can come across flirtatious, or they're kind of pumping you up, but really it's all scaring you. It's making you think you're
Yeah.
going to do what to me by what grade? Pardon? Like, these are the things that we grow up with. And this just triggered me in speaking, to you during this episode. There's a million things that both of us, if we really sat with it, could be like, and that happened, and that happened. Like reading the red flags, and we're old enough to now, but being a teenager in puberty, growing up, reading red flags is really tricky. That, like I said, I think I'd prefer to teach her how to navigate a bear, a wild freaking animal, over a man.
Are you looking for something extra spicy? Join us on our sexy Sunday night segment on Patreon at 6 p.m.
I think the bear concept really confused a lot of men, because off the hop, why on earth would you want to be around a bear, a lion, a tiger, a cheetah? Like, are you out of your mind? Sure, if this was National Geographic and it was my first day on the job, but think about the reality of it. If you're alone in a forest, a forest is big. A forest is not 6 trees, right? You're in a big ass forest, somewhere where people hike for hours, like big forest. A bear, 6 months out of the year plus, depending where it is geographically, is hibernating, first of all. So, woohoo, we can run around and do what we want. The rest of the time, he could be in an entirely different area of the forest, doesn't know that you even exist, let alone that you have a campsite or go fishing on the same river. 9 times out of 10, when a bear leaves their den or where they normally would be with their, well, most of them are independent creatures, but anyways, where they would kind of wander is to go eat or to mate. I'm sorry, mating season, yes, they get aggressive if you try to fuck with them, but the rest of the time they're focused and they're busy because there's a small window to do so. Nature for them is different than nature for us. And the rest of the time they're trying to eat. So they're in the river catching salmon. They're out there with small critters. We equally, humans are not delicious to bears. If we were, we'd be their like primo catch, right? We don't taste good as much as a salmon does to a bear. So in essence, you could walk by a bear, stroll past a bear. A bear doesn't give a flying fuck what you're doing. All you do is crunch some leaves, break a couple little twigs as you walk on by, and you're just going about your day. But put yourself in a forest where nightfall comes and there is a man anywhere with a visual radius of spotting you all by yourself, all alone, unprotected, in the middle of a freaking jungle. And you have a lot more things to worry about, because not only if the bear were to attack you, he'd probably kill you instantly. So it's a quick one and done. And that's if you poke the bear. It's if you fuck with the bear, right? But a man could hunt you without your knowledge for the longest time. He can terrorize you throughout that hunt and make you aware of it. He can capture you, torture you, kidnap you, chop you into pieces, breed you, keep you for a very, very, very long time, and hurt you on a repeated and extended manner that may or may not even end in sweet death release. Like, there is so much more that a man can do that is petrifying if you were literally in the forest with a man or a bear. I would rather go in the bear's den and snuggle up than, and the girl who doesn't like cuddling would cuddle a goddamn bear, because I'd rather try to make nice than have to fake it till I make it with a man in the middle of a dark forest. Are you crazy? So I wish that conversation had gone a little bit more into the nature of things, because think about the nature of a bear. If we were beautiful pink salmons, we'd be in trouble. Listen, I'd rather not catch a man's lure if he's a fisherman, and I'm not banking on the bear missing me. He's going to catch me. Like, I'm toast with the bear. But the other way around on dry land and I'm not a fish, holy shit, I am primo catch for a man, and I am icky, yucky, not tasteful to a bear. So a bear would literally have to go out of his way to harm you. And he probably has no interest in even eating you afterwards. You're not a snack. He's just going to kind of go away and go on about being a bear. Like, he's literally just being a bear. And if you poke it, you get what you pay for, right? That's why the expression is, don't poke a bear. Don't fuck around with it. And I think people really, really miss that. So when you talk to a child, and that difference of age between those children was like, what, 3 years? Think about what that 10-year-old has gone through from age 7. I can think about my earliest experiences, and the earliest ones I can think about started in grade 2. And it was not the boys in my class. It was older men. It was an older situation. It was the overexposure in a change room, or a situation where you're still young enough to go with your parent. It was at the local community pool. It was a supply teacher. Like, there were a lot of things that happened. By the time you get to high school, to college, you've not only been violated, you've had to thicken your skin on those, readjust your boundaries, maybe told, maybe didn't tell, and carry all that with you. And you're still trying to navigate and find love. Like, it is so overwhelming. So the thought, I think, to women that kind of broke some of us and really like snapped part of a camel's back on this one was, you can go through a lifetime of all of that, find your Prince Charming, and 20-something years later be like that woman in the UK who finds out what he'd been doing all along. That is one of the most heartbreaking things I can think of. And so, as much as I think there is definitely a side to, it isn't always in the best interest of a man financially, let's say, to get married, because she might take half when she leaves. Woohoo, prenup. But anyways, like that risk factor that a lot of men kind of lean on. Imagine if it was role reversed, and every bear was after every man, and you've been violated by bears your whole life, and then they were like, marry one. It would be unfathomable, right? It would just be so unfathomable, because you know the behavior and you know the risk. And I think that's why it triggers men so much, is because even if they're a good guy, they know what men are capable of. They know it's in there somewhere for everybody. And their backlash is really frightening. Now, I'm going to go back to that thread quickly before I have one other quick thing to read. But this person that put these little quotes that people replied about why is it such a big deal also got a lot of hate DMs. And all from men, of course, just pissed off. How dare you ask this question? And it was things like, you're a weirdo, a real life weirdo. I don't know how you hate men. We built the world you live in. If all men died today, all women would die in the next couple of weeks, because you're just dumb idiots. Women can't survive without men. You must not have had a dad or something, because your mom was a hoe. You could pick a good one, eh? Don't worry. Men hate you too. And one more thing, you're ugly. Here's another one. That little lie you just told really backfired on you, didn't it? Here's another one. 90K of fraudulent people. There's 90K responses. who want you, 90K fraudulent people who want the validation of a ridiculous woman's opinions that are obscene. Go get laid or something. You must have high testosterone, you manly cunt. Like it just goes on and on. And it's like, she just asked a question.
Is based on like our own lived experiences or hearing from like our sisters, our girlfriends, our coworkers,
everybody.
How are we still seeking men? I think it's strange. It's great for the male species. Like we still do. Like we still biologically want love, relationship. We want to cohabitate and have babies. But it's a wonder. And I keep going back to the bear, but I remember thinking there was a clip I saw that was dads being asked about their daughters, and every single dad picked the bear. So their own species, men themselves, I wish I had it. If I find it, we'll link it. We're also choosing the bear for their daughters, and that has to be telling. And listen, we love you guys. We have a whole business that's set up by celebrating you and giving you all the pleasure. We adore men, but I think it's still a massive topic that has to be recognized. Without us, I don't want to come across as like, we're not man haters, we're not man bashing, but we are speaking the truth, and that is going to be uncomfortable for many to hear.
Absolutely. And you're right. It contrasts our men's appreciation series that we put out like at least one a month, or we're like, we love you guys. Without men, the world would fall apart for many reasons. Not the reasons you probably think, but for many reasons. But there has to be an acknowledgement of the difference between the good guys and the bad guys, but also to acknowledge the fact that we don't know which ones you are until it's too late. And that is in where the danger, but mostly the fear lies. And I dare any man watching right now to ask the women in your life, how young were you when you first felt like violated by a man or approached inappropriately or hit on as a child or something? And I guarantee you every single woman will have a story. That needs to be the part of Not All Men. That is the point right there. Is okay, she had a good dad and a good uncle, and no one at home did anything wrong. But the teacher, the pastor, the coach, it's everywhere. And so chances are there isn't a woman alive who's never met one of the bad guys, because 8 out of 10 of them are bad guys. Like, it's so hard to narrow down who the good ones are, that until men start addressing it and calling it out, we just sound like whiny feminists who get DMs like that, right? And it shows the anger, and the anger scares me too. Those DMs were really angry, and it's frightening to me. But your story about that clip you saw shows that they actually know it's true. Because if they were talking as single men about women, they'd be like, oh, you hate men. Why don't you love men? But as soon as it's about their daughter, they're like, oh, hell no. Hell no. You're going to go become a bear and Goldilocks. Here we come. Like, let's make nice with the bears. And suddenly it's a totally different story. So I got one last post to read here, and it touches right on that, kind of brings everything full circle together. Boys, roll with me on this one. If any man wants to know what it feels like to be a woman, go to a male prison for a few years. You will never let your guard down. You will never relax. The person sleeping in the same room with you might hurt you, grape you, or unalive you. Walking to get food could be dangerous. Having to disrobe to shower can be very dangerous. If a man can't understand why women say they choose the bear over a man, just look at how most men already choose the bear over going to a prison with men. Men go hiking and camping in the woods where there's multiple bears and wolves and coyotes and mountain lions. But how many don't mind going to prison when there's only men there? They'll do almost anything to avoid that, won't they? Why? Because it's not all men. Nutshell. Yeah. That lays it out there. It's so important. I think it's so important. Guys, talk to your daughters, talk to your female friends, your family members, learn from them on their experiences, because it's hard for us to talk about some of these experiences. They're very traumatic. Many of them we never speak about to even our best friends, our sisters. You and I have childhood trauma stories we've never shared with each other, and we've been besties for almost 20 years. And yet we could sit and have a tear fest over it when we finally tell one story. So we just have to buck it up, pull up our bootstraps, and keep going to work the next day, keep going through the same things, keep going about life, just being a wife, being a mom, being whatever we decide to do. And men just get to keep on being men. And until they figure it out and learn some of these things that will shock you, it should force you to feel obligated to have conversations then with your male counterparts. It's awkward at the office to talk about it with your coworkers. But guess what? A lot of this shit happens in the workplace. You know, it's awkward to talk about it with your neighbors or your buddies or your hockey team bros or your son or your brother. But it happens in all those places too. And until men call it out, it's just not going to stop, because we just sound like whiny things with a big speakerphone and a flag that we're like, stop. And nobody's going to listen to that. It's not something lawmakers can change. It's not something police can police entirely. It literally is up exclusively to men to change. And on behalf of the 62 million and the victims of such, we beg of you. We beg of you to have the most awkward and uncomfortable situational talks, but have those conversations, because then this conversation can evolve. We can drop the expression, not all men, and maybe it'll become once in a blue moon man instead. And would not that be a better world to live in for all of us? We would be so much more open with men. Men would get the love and affection and the sex that they want. There'd just be so much more togetherness instead of the lack of trust. And literally women tapping out, being like, I quit. I can't do this anymore. It's such a state of the world. And literally the entire pressure in a patriarchal world that y'all built, it's up to y'all to fix it. I hate to say it. As much as we love you, it's completely up to you to fix it. It's not our battle to mend. It's just our battle to endure. And that's why so many just aren't anymore.
Well said.
I'm convinced most of our subscribers and anyone who listens to what we have to say has to be part of the 20% good guys, because otherwise you'd probably be bitching in the comments. But in general, share this with a friend if there's someone that you'd like to have the talk with. Forward it to a woman that you're like, honey, how do you feel about this? Are these girls right? Like, let's, of course, we always want you to share, subscribe, like, comment, but at the same time, like, use it as a tool even to broach a subject, because it can be awkward to be like, so, see that article from CNN? What do you think there, Frank? And well, you're having beers with your neighbor over burgers. Like, but summer's coming. Community time is coming. So embrace those conversations, gather the boys and talk about it. It's so, so, so important.
Definitely.
On that note, we still love you guys.
We do. We do. I know it doesn't feel like it, but we do.
We do. We honor and we cherish men and everything that they bring to the world, and most of it is glorious. But the fear is big and the problem is huge, and it needs to be solved, because it doesn't, like, there's no end in sight until it gets solved. And that would be a shame. That would be just a shame to, like, be done with standard relationships altogether. So eventually all women will quit. There's not just gonna be like 6 left. They're like, I don't care. I'm gonna do it anyway. Okay. Good luck in the forest. Like, it's kind of crazy. So, boys, thank you for enduring this. I know we kind of shit on you on this one, but thank you for listening. It's very important. I think it's touched every woman that's heard this story. It should touch you too. And come back to us with your feedback. Even if you're angry, be kind in the comments, but express yourself. We don't mind a good debate or a good conversation. It might spark a part 2. Share your story and maybe why you wouldn't pick the man either. I'd love to know. We'll see you next time on Muse on the Mic, guys. We'll see you later.